EBI is back. EBI 13, the lightweights, featuring defending champion Garry Tonon.
For this EBI, like many EBI, I really won't be training too much opponent specific because it's a big tournament. It's very rare that for a larger tournament when I have 16 guys in a division that I'm able to prepare individually. So I'm just going to be focused on improving my skills and getting submissions as quickly and effectively as possible. And that's going to be my game plan going into this, is just to be on offense the whole time. And I think it'll go a lot like my lightweight run the last time, where I was on attack the entire time and just viciously trying to submit my opponents. I hold an EBI belt in 3 different weight divisions. Now I've since won 4 EBI events, and the different weight categories, being able to compete at the highest level, no matter what the weight class, is something that means a lot to me. It's one of the biggest reasons why I started training martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in general. As a smaller, weaker kid, and I'm a little bit more athletic now, I'd like to think. As I continued and trained martial arts, I started to see, smaller, less athletic guys using technique to be able to overcome, much larger opponents, and I fell in love with that idea. It's such a romanticized concept that, through hard work, dedication, intelligence, technique, tactics, all these things, to be able to overcome, all odds. Everybody looks at the much larger opponent, and then they see the smaller guy in front of them, and everybody just assumes that the larger guy is going to crush the smaller guy. And to be able to basically just defy everything that everybody thinks and come out on top means a lot to me. I'll be competing much more closely related to my actual weight in this EBI at 155 pounds. At that weight class, in the last 155-pound EBI, I've been the most effective. So I'm really excited to compete a lot closer to my weight class at 155, so people can see, really what I can do when I'm paired against people that are closer to my equal. A lot of people, say things, and they talk about, money not being important, or being important, or the title's important, or this, that, and the other thing. And it's hard to say. I didn't get involved in jiu-jitsu. I didn't start competing for money. When I first started training and competing was always a test for me, to test myself, but as well as a developmental tool to help me develop my skills. Competing is a short-lived venture. It's something that you can only do for a short period of time in your life. The majority of your life will be years where athletically you won't be competing at the highest level of any sport. The most important thing to me, do I want to win this tournament? Do I want to win the money? Do I want to get the prestige of winning and all those things? Yes. But the most important thing to me is that I'm developing skills that I'll be able to pass on to later generations that will allow them to become better at jiu-jitsu, because that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life once I'm done competing. So that's the number one for me. So Cash Chicks Championships is my new apparel company, and it actually originated during EBI. I filled out a little piece of paperwork for the announcers for EBI so that they could better get to know me. Something along the lines of like, why do you compete in jiu-jitsu, or like why do you want to win EBI? And I think, just my simple response was, I said the 3 C's: cash, chicks, and championships. It's going to cost a lot of money to start a business, but that's fun for me. I'd rather invest in that than just trying to invest in some other other person's thing, or represent somebody else. I'd like to represent myself. So very little free time. All the time in interviews I'm asked, what do you do in your free time when you're not doing jiu-jitsu? It's like, pretty much nothing. I'm sleeping, or eating. There's no, it's not much of a life outside jiu-jitsu, because I'm just trying to claw my way to the top each and every day. I don't really think there is any other way to do it than to just like be miserable trying to get there every day. I don't think anybody who has gotten to the pinnacle of what they do got there by being comfortable. You know, I think if you're not miserable, you know, working your way towards whatever it is you're working towards, it's either not that desirable or you're not working hard enough. In any sport, any profession, art, whatever you want to say, where there traditionally isn't a lot of money involved, if you are going to make a living out of doing whatever that is, you're going to have to claw your way towards the top of whatever that is, whether it's teaching, whether it's competing, whatever the case may be. If you're going to make a career out of that, you're really going to have to put your all in. You know, it's not something that you can kind of half-ass and make a living off of. You'll struggle a lot more. I'd rather struggle, you know, clawing my way to the top than struggle to, you know, pick up the scraps, you know, because I didn't work hard enough. So, you know, I think that that is what's going to help me, you know, continue to make a living off of jiu-jitsu.
Fresh off his Final Four appearance at this year's ADCC, Garry Tonon not only looks to regain and keep his EBI lightweight belt, but he hopes to also get redemption and rematch with Vagner Rocha, who ended up getting a bronze medal at 2017 ADCC. Vagner Rocha is one of the most fearless jiu-jitsu competitors in the entire world. He does Abu Dhabi, he does EBI, he'll do anything. He's done MMA.
The first time I did EBI, I was in camp for something else, and I got basically injured. So I didn't really train, and I made it to the finals, and I beat some really, really big names to get there. So the only thing that I'm doing different this time is I'm actually training, you know, 100%. So, I mean, that's, to me, big already in itself. So, and, you know, just training to stay ready for, you know, I won the North American ADCC trials, which is easily the biggest tournament that's ever been for the trials. 97 competitors, everybody that, you know, is big names now, you know, like, they said it was easily the biggest bracket they've ever seen. And, you know, I managed to win that clear, and I can't say easy, but definitely won it. So, you know, and that was my 4th North American trials, being to the finals. You know, there's very little jiu-jitsu guys out there that've done what I've done with the trials. So.
From Vagner Rocha Martial Arts, Vagner Rocha!
The format, it's cool, you know, it gives you an opportunity to let go. You know, you don't have to be worried about like, oh, this guy got this, or he got that, he's winning by an advantage, or, you know, there is none of that, and it gives you an opportunity to really let jiu-jitsu flow. If you have jiu-jitsu that's dangerous, it's aggressive, you know, if you have that kind of jiu-jitsu, it looks good on that stage, you know. And I feel like my jiu-jitsu is different than what the generation of today is doing. You know, the guys are doing something a little different than I am. You know, I feel like I bring back a little bit of the old school taste. So I see, you know, my style being more dominant, and I'm gonna show that. All those matches I had on the EBI 11, I was hurt. You know, I came in hurt. I didn't pull out because it's just not my nature. And if I commit to something, I'm gonna do it, whether I'm 100% or not. And I feel like that's important, you know, for athletes to know that you make a commitment to somebody, or you get them to, you know, put your name in the hat. You gotta live through, even if you're not at your best. And you know, I did great. You know, I had some real tough matches with Sergio Adila, and then with Craig Jones, who really wore me down. And then I got to the finals against Gordon, and you know, he got the best of me that day. And like I said, you know, it is what it is. You know, you lose some, you win some. I always pray. You know, it's the first thing before I compete. You know, I pray to my Lord, and I ask, you know, that I leave the match unharmed, and that I have good results, and that I don't, of course, hurt the person that I'm going with. You know, trying to win, but I'm not really trying to be that person that's trying to injure somebody who's trying to make a living like I am. So, you know, that's always runs through my mind. And then, you know, the next thing that runs through my mind is I have to do what I have to do to win. And, you know, I have to bring my game and my will and my pressure to the table, and that usually is the number one, two things on my mind before I go out there. I'm gonna be more aggressive. You know, like I said, the one EBI 11 that I did, I wasn't able to be so aggressive because I was scared to fall into a position that I couldn't defend because of the limitations on my body. So I feel right now that I'm at 100% physically, mentally. You know, I want to get as many subs as I can in regulation time so that I can win this title and come away with my pockets filled.
Bill Cooper has always been considered one of the best American Jiu-Jitsu players and the most consistent. He was competing in everything. Took a little break, couple year hiatus, but he's back and he's only 30 and he has so much more to offer. He's definitely one of the most unorthodox Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu players in the entire world.
I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 16, 17 years now, since I was 13. Just turned 30,000 years old. So yeah. I opened up a jiu-jitsu school for the people, for the crowd of Goodland, for Galita. Just a nice, cute little, respectful mom and pop shop town. That's what I like, and that's what I'm gonna kind of give that to the people. Like, that's how I had it, and that's how I'm gonna give it, you know? It's real personal. Everyone's special. Like, everyone's unique. Everyone's there for a purpose. One's for belts, one's for medals, one's for self-defense. So I wanted to cater to all that. I wanted the people to feel comfortable in my town, you know? I always feel like some kind of, you know, knight with, you know, I'm the knight in your shining armor, you know? Like, I'm the people's champ, like, meaning like I'm the people's protector. I've always liked that, like they can rely on me. And I'll be there in a horse stride away, you know what I mean? What's up, would you call, you know? So I'm kind of old school, old fashioned. I watched a lot of old movies, new movies too. That's one thing I feel like people always relied on people. And I was actually in kindergarten. I actually was looking around and seeing if any other kids was getting picked on, and that was like a trigger. Go help them. True story. And I got in trouble for that, helping kids.
Get on your elbow, get off your shoulders, get on your elbow, look behind you, stop the shit behind your back. Who's that? Shake your tail. All right. Thank you, everyone!
I've been waiting for this shit because everyone's thinking like, oh, he's 30, he's fought, he's did pro and he took one loss and now he's over it. He felt defeat and he can't handle defeat. Hey, I came back and went to the finals with Eddie Cummings, the fucking man, you know, that's been ripping everyone's fucking limbs off, you know, and I stuck in there. I stuck with it, man, till the end, till he caught me slipping. It was all new to me too. This footlock game, I love it. I admit that I didn't know it. It takes a lot of balls for someone to admit. Black belts still to this day don't admit that they do know the leg lock game. They fucking don't. They don't, okay? So don't fool yourself. And know yourself, you know, it's always good to ask questions too. In upper body, we go arm bar, omoplata to triangle. Well, I knew there's a straight ankle lock, to toe hold, to knee bar. But then I didn't know that I thought that was it. That was just a certain few. There's only maybe, you know, there's only forward, back, but I didn't know there's doors up above. There's the attic, you know, and there's the, what do you call that one safe, right? Where everyone got to go to when the tornado comes and shit hits. The cell, right? What do they call that again? Cellar. The cellar, I like that. cellar. So you have side doors, back doors, hidden doors in front of you, but don't forget the attic too. Don't forget down in the cellar, you know what I mean? There's always those open doors, and that meaning those two are open minds, keeping your minds open, you know what I mean? So I was like, fuck man, and the feeling too that I got. I never had no one attack my feet like that. It was weird, he did some shit like, he pulled this one out and he like this one. Ooh, all right. Right, just like arse to darts, right? Top of the boom. Boom. And he goes to 20 Montana. Right, 20 Montana. Boom. Heel hook, straight ankle. Like that, but have fun with it, okay? Go straight. Some surfer dude told me real well. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, no one fucking cares. No one cares, dude. You gotta keep up. You gotta keep up to date. If I just stop now, stop competing, and just start teaching, yeah, I'd be a great teacher, but I think I still have potential. I think I can teach better if I compete. I try to train a lot. Train a lot. Go to tournaments a lot. So when I go to the big boy one, it's like no effect, you know what I mean? It's like, ooh, and it feels good knowing it's half the battle. So when you see an opponent and you know, you're like, all right, I kind of know the feel. I know how he grips. I know how he talks. I know how he smells. So in case he's like breathing again, I'm gonna like avoid his bad breath over here, you know what I mean? Little things like that, man. I'm gonna hit some surprise. I'm gonna try some of my new shit, hit some leg locks, at least get one DARS, like one arm choke, one leg lock, and one flying attack. Like, and then I'm set, you know? And then the other one could be like a wrist lock or something. I wanna be, I'll take anything, as long as they do this. I'm the champ, right?
Nathan Orchard is one of the top 10th Planet black belts on the planet and is ranked #2 in the 10th Planet Association. You gotta watch out for his leg locks and his rubber guard. He's got both, and you don't see that combo too often in EBI. But if you're gonna smash through his leg locks, you're gonna go right into his rubber guard. So he's a tough one to figure out, and at 55, he's definitely one of the favorites to take this whole thing.
Well, I'm from a small town, Grants Pass, Oregon. There's now a 10th Planet there, but back in the day, there was no real martial arts training. There was a bunch of, fighters fighting, but there wasn't any really clean training. So I was really self-taught for a very long time. I mean, I had training partners that I worked with, but it was all just studying videos, studying books, getting on the mats, trying things out. I did that for a long time. Really, 10th Planet, I've been adopted into it, but it's in my blood. It's who I am, it's what I am, it's what my jiu-jitsu is. It's my mindset. It's not just a set of techniques, it's how I think, and then 10th Planet really made me understand jiu-jitsu on a far deep. I mean, I had 10 submissions in MMA before I even heard of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Once I found 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, it was just the glue that held all of the rest of my game together and just worked perfectly for me instantly.
Now you can go high elbow, push into him, and go and block his foot, just like we were doing before.
I got my purple belt, and I saw, what some of the other guys around the country were doing, and I really wanted to do that, live jiu-jitsu life. I moved up to Portland, and Phil Schwartz just so happened to have just moved up here as well. We got together, started doing business, and that was 4 years ago now.
Really good, clean reps from everybody. Really some beautiful work tonight, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we started upstairs, we started with like maybe 30 people all together. We had little space upstairs, and then slowly as we grew, the other businesses in the building moved out, and so we were able to kind of like take over as they moved out. It used to be just a warehouse and like a tire factory or something like that, and then a clothing, some kind of secondhand clothing store. That I was a carpenter for years before I got into jiu-jitsu full time, and so I was able to actually renovate and really kind of put my own artistic touch on this and work really hard on the beams. It was one of the most difficult jobs I've ever done in my life. First I planed them, then I wire brushed them, then sanded, then stained them, all on a ladder, all overhead work. It was traumatic, but they're beautiful, so it was worth it. I win the hand fight. Boom. Okay, looking for our ankle pick that we just did, or we step to the outside and get that single leg. He throws the wizard. I was in the EBI 1, 2, 3, 5, 11, and now 13.
From 10th Planet Portland, please welcome
Brand new black belt. And, you know, he invited me to the Eddie Bravo Invitational, and of course I was pumped. You know, now, if I had no idea where it was going to go. We all hoped that it went somewhere big, and it really has. But, no, I mean, that was the beginning of not just EBI, but my career as a black belt. So, definitely a very pivotal, you know, point in my career, and something that's really helped build me up. I took second place at EBI 2, which was 155. The next time I had the chance to go 155, I actually lost just by, I think it was like 9 seconds or something like that. But in a match that I absolutely dominated. That's the thing about EBI rules, and that's something I've really learned about, is the, you know, the strategy behind how you play the overtime. You know, I've always been a guy that just wants to go for the sub, but look, sometimes you just, in the rule set, you got to play by the rule set. And so I've lost twice. I lost in the finals of EBI 2 because of just being so antsy to get the submission, and the same thing happened in EBI 5. You know, since then I've been in submission underground a couple times. I've won in the overtime. I've really learned how to play that game. But in the 10-minute, you know, round, you're just gonna see me go for it. In overtime, I understand the strategy, and I'm not gonna just get beat by that again. Just thinking about how it all works, and the strategy of, you know, if you want to, how long you should get riding time before you actually really try to go for the submission, and then, you know, putting pressure on your opponent by getting the riding time, or there's just some strategy that goes into it. You get these superstars that they don't want to learn the EBI overtime rules. They don't even think about it. They're like, I'm going to show up and do this event. It's like, no, you got to understand what's going on here, man, or you're going to lose. It's my time to shine. This is my tournament. You know, this is my weight class that I feel the best at. Right now, I'm sharper than I've ever been. I feel better than I ever have. I've been studying hard, not just jiu-jitsu, but just how to think and feel and not let stress get to you and all kinds of things, you know. And I just feel like it's my time.
My name is Ross Keeping. I train under Grace Humaita in Las Vegas under Mika Sapili. This is my first year at black belt, and I'm super excited to compete at this point in my life. My first year at black belt, I seem to be placing at pretty much every tournament I've been doing. I went to the semifinals of the Abu Dhabi this year. Black belt at 85 kilos. So also too, a few years ago when I was, 2 years ago when I was brown belt, I took third in the Metamoris Underground, which is kind of the same rule set as EBI. And I made it to the semifinals tapping 7 guys in a row. So I'm pretty confident I can do good in this tournament with the same rule set. I'd say I have like a style, a very aggressive style. I like to go for the submission all the time. Also, I like to be very technical. I try to beat people on like technique, not so much like crazy motion, but really knowing where to go and what position I like to go to and what positions I go to, like my go-to moves. I feel like it's not my style, it's just that I like to be well-rounded in all areas in jiu-jitsu, not just practice guard, not just practice foot locks, not just practice takedowns. I like to be jiu-jitsu as a full, you know, not just one area. So I would like to consider my style well-rounded, maybe. If I had to pick a certain style, I like to take down, I like to pass the guard. My favorite passing style is like a knee slice pass. And then I like to pressure my way into the side control, mount, and try tap the person. That's kind of my game plan. I like leg locks, yes. I train a lot of foot locks. The cool thing about foot locks is, even though they're all starting to come around right now, I've I've been doing since I was a kid, so it's not really like a big shock to me. We've always trained footlocks here. I'm super lucky to have a professor that taught us footlocks and heel hooks from a very young age. I remember even doing self-defense with footlocks in the kids class, so I've always felt up to date with all that, so I like footlocks too, yes, a lot. I've heard a lot about the EBI and very impressive. All the guys that go there are no joke. I think what makes it separate are definitely the no points, the submission only. Of course now, which I think a lot of the athletes love and are very grateful for, is the prize money, because it makes it very aggressive and it makes us fight for that, you know, which is what I think jiu-jitsu should be definitely about. If you really want the money, and I'm sure as a lot of jiu-jitsu competitors know that do this as their life, the tournaments that pay are definitely more of a motivation. I would rather do something that pays $20,000 than a gold medal for sure, even though the gold medal might give you exposure, but if there's a tournament that can do both and that can push you in the right direction for that, and that can help you set you up for your more dreams to carry on jiu-jitsu, you know, I think that's more of a motivation for sure with the money. People see the excitement, and of course, since it's going to be on the UFC Fight Pass, people from all over the world are going to see, so I think that's perfect opportunity for exposure, you know? Every day I train, I feel like I'm progressing in myself, and with the team too, I see all my teammates progressing and accomplishing what they want to do too, and they're progressing in jiu-jitsu along with me, and I think that's one of the biggest things that motivates me. Also, what motivates me to get up and train every day, my friends, my family, my daughter, everything that makes me focus on the prize, that's what makes me train every day, you know? And just for the love of the jiu-jitsu as an art and for the sport. More right now, I'm focused on the sport, which is what I really have a passion for, competing. That's really what drives me and makes me wake up to train every day.
EBI 3 veteran, black belt Mike Padilla returns.
Qualifying for EBI 3 when I came out, that was probably one of my highlights, even though I kind of didn't perform the way I wanted to. You know, it wasn't nothing like what it is now, but you know, it definitely opened up a lot of doors for grapplers to come out. You know, when Eddie gave me the invite, and like I was around all the studs on the East Coast and West Coast, so come match time, you know, Josh, you know, I think I might have swept him or whatever, but and then all of a sudden I had like a brain fart, you know, I just forgot what I was doing, and he kind of just sucked me into triangle and choked me out pretty quick. I'm all about the sub-only movement. I think we get winners out of this rule set, so I think as a sport we should start growing towards this movement and, you know, really bringing jiu-jitsu back to where, you know, whoever the best man really is, rather than waiting on a time limit, you know. So we get subs out of these rule sets. So. To win EBI 13, I'll probably cry. I might cry anyway just being there, but to win it would mean the world. It's not even so much about the money for me, you know. I'm 35 years old, or I'm gonna be 35 years old, you know. I'm really just trying to test myself against the best in the world, show my students, you know, that you can do anything if you want, you know. And it's all about testing yourself, you know, how day in and day out, be a better person every day. I train as much as possible. It's about half and half, you know. I got a family, you know. I work full time. I'm a construction plumber, and I come in at nights. I try to train my guys and run my school. You know, eventually what I want to do is quit my full-time job and jiu-jitsu be my full-time job, but you know, we got mortgages to pay and kids to raise, so until then, the dream lives on. Jiu-jitsu is everything for me, you know. I could have easily went down the wrong path in life, you know, stealing drugs and and all kinds of crazy mess I was getting myself into. And then once I met jiu-jitsu, it was like, you know, it gave me a focus in life that I really needed at the time. So, you know, it's really important to me. That's all I can pretty much say. Coming from these local tournaments that I'm used to, you know, I mean, it's awesome. People are out there watching it, and jiu-jitsu's growing as a whole, and people are interested in it, and I think it's great where, you know, from when I started to now, how jiu-jitsu has progressed.
Five.
My name is Issa Able. I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for almost 10 years now, and I train out of One Love Grappling Arts in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't really consider myself to have any specialties, but when the match gets going, I seem to gravitate more towards smashing and passing the guard, taking the back, and chaining together submissions from there. And yes, I am really into leg locks. A couple years ago, I hurt my arm in a tournament, so I couldn't use my arm for about 3 months. So I kind of got forced into the leg lock game, and next thing you know, I became pretty good at it, and I've won a lot of matches since then with the leg lock game. Jiu-jitsu means everything to me. I wake up every day. That's all I do. I own my own gym, so I teach all day and I train all day. All my friends are from Jiu-Jitsu. I met my wife through Jiu-Jitsu. I make money from Jiu-Jitsu, and Jiu-Jitsu is my hobby, and it's my happy place. Not so much worried about just position. You know, obviously you gotta go for the submission to win. And I've been starting in a lot of the overtime position, so in spiderweb and back control. I've been working the defense and offense of both. UFC Fight Pass has some of the best organizations on there, and for jiu-jitsu athletes to be a part of that, it means a lot, and there's gonna be a lot of eyeballs on us, so, you know, gotta make sure to impress. One of the things that really makes it interesting to me is that it's submission only based, and the only way to win is to submit your opponent. So that's the pure point, that's the whole point of jiu-jitsu, is to finish the match. I'm doing this for the money and for the title. Obviously the title is more important because it's timeless, and if I win it, I will forever be a champion in EBI. And with the money, I would invest it into my gym, and with the rest of the money, whatever is left, have a couple little adventures with my wife and my dogs. In EBI 13, you can expect really exciting matches from me. I'm gonna go for it, and I'm really expecting to take out some big names and come out on top.
PJ Barch is a 10th Planet black belt out of 10th Planet San Diego under Richie Martinez. He's running his own school now out in that San Diego County, 10th Planet Spring Valley. And what he brings to the table is high-level wrestling with serious passing, top game, back control. He's a finisher. He's winning every tournament he's entering these days.
I think an EBI title is pretty significant to me just because it's something that from the beginning I didn't know a whole lot about jiu-jitsu, and I didn't follow IBJJF. I couldn't tell you like more than 4 guys about jiu-jitsu like 4 years ago, but I did go to an EBI and I saw these guys, and that was kind of my introduction to like, oh, there's a different level to this, and this is really cool. So I think the title's rad, you know, especially to represent, for my school and for Richie Martinez, Eddie Bravo and even Nate and the guys at BJ Penn's and stuff like that. Like those guys, I wouldn't be anywhere without them. So to represent for that would be amazing, and the system in general. And then, you know, the money's a good bonus if I ever, you know, got that. I've been injured a lot this past year, and it's caused me to just take a back seat to the training and really sit down and watch jiu-jitsu and try to understand jiu-jitsu and watch Marcelo Garcia, watch these top guys that are, you know, there's so much subtle details and stuff that I didn't really understand before that I'm just starting to manifest. I had to sacrifice quite a bit when I moved here. You know, I was just working valet, running cars. I was trying to find the most exercise position that I could where I could make the quickest cash to just get to the gym as much as possible, and I grinded on that for when I really like went all in on jiu-jitsu was probably like right when I moved here 2.5, 3 years ago, and I put the majority of my time into that, and it has been fruitful for me. You know, now I just teach, and I have an academy now, 10th Planet Spring Valley. And I owe a lot of that credit to Richie for really taking me under his wing and providing and helping me through everything and pushing me when I wasn't sure if this was what I was going to do. You know, Richie made it pretty obvious to me that was what I was good at, and that's where I was meant to be doing. Tournaments are my format 100%. There's no other way. That I don't like just coming in and one and done. I like to get out there and have to go through this whole storyline of competing, and the first guy, you know, you're getting the nerves out and everything like that, and I'm feeling like a little pressure lifted when I walk out. You know, if I won that one, it's, you know, take a deep breath, and now everything's just added like extra credit. You know, every win from there on, I already won one. It's just, you're going through a path. There's not one thing. There's one thing at the very end, but it's a pathway to get there, and you're taking like small steps to get there. I like tournaments a lot. I think mentally preparing for a tournament, it can be different than a super fight. A super fight, you can hone in on one particular person, and it's good for studying and watching a guy, which is something that I will do. But it can also become like an obsession of what that guy is going to do, whereas like in a tournament format, you know, it's good to observe who else is going to be in it and know their tricks and their style. But for the most part, you have to focus on yourself and what you do good and pursuing that. And then also the nerves that apply to super fights can be a little bit different as well, because I think you're waiting on one particular date and one match, and you don't have, that's it, you know, everything rides on that one particular thing, whereas this is a grind, you know, and you're in for a battle and a war, and I prefer that. I prefer like to be ready to go into a battle, a long stretch of combat. We spend a lot of time in doing the overtime. I mean, in general, my jiu-jitsu pathways are all to reach spiderweb or the back. So the more work I get off like back control or out of spiderweb, it's all going to my end game anyway. So we spend a lot of time there, and I spend a lot of time with Richie in the past couple of years doing that, and still just honing in on the technique of riding and choking and escaping and all that stuff. And I'll be ready as long, like once my cardio is there, I feel like I can always find a way to escape or win a match.
I'm Andreas Achniotis Perales. I'm a black belt under Pantelis Panagidis, Aspida team, Henzo Gracie from Cyprus. I'm training for the last 13 years at Aspida team Henzo Gracie in Cyprus. Also train in Italy at Milanimal. As a judo black belt, I was looking ways to improve my game. I thought the ground game was a point of judo that I had to improve, So I was luckily introduced to my coach by a friend of mine, and since then I'm just doing Jiu-jitsu. My style of Jiu-jitsu, it's to be always aware from good positions, good defense, overall standing, passing, guard game. I will say my specialty is more the top game, passing and controlling positions. The leg lock game, it's a new game for me, but I'm improving every day, and yeah, I think I'm ready for the leg lock game of EBI. To have this opportunity to fly to LA and competing to EBI, it's one of the best opportunities I have till now. For me to have the title, it will be the result of 13 years of hard training. Either than the last 3, it's my only job. I'm doing this for the last 3 years, full time. So, super happy, super proud. As a Jiu-Jitsu artist, EBI, it's giving me the opportunity to train in different rules, in different aspects of the sport. I usually competed in IBJJF tournaments. This is slightly different. I think it's a more realistic game because you're looking for submission. There's no point system, but the overtime rules will reveal a winner. I want to share what I know, what works in my game, and I usually get a lot back, a lot of positive energy and positive feedback from the students and from my friends. The sport is growing. It's a big opportunity for me to promote my team and myself, and I'm very excited and very proud.
Representing Gracie Baja, On It Invitational star, Lucas Valente.
I wouldn't say like I have a certain style of jiu-jitsu. I would say my style is just a complete jiu-jitsu itself. You know, I'm always looking for a great position in order to get a submission. You know, so I never gonna give up position in order to get a submission. So I think that a great position always gonna lead to submission. So I would say that's my style. Always the best match should be in the final, but on EBI it's kind of hard, you know, because there's always so many great athletes, so it's kind of hard too. The title means, that would mean for me that hard work pays off, you know, and the money would help me to pay some debts I have and also to go see my family in Brazil. For sure, a really interesting type of tournament, you know, a different rule set than I'm used to. So I think it was pretty nice, you know, to see on TV and everything. I compete most on IBJJF, you know, but I always like to test myself in any rule set that is, you know, I just believe in my jiu-jitsu. This type of rule set is a lot of isometric strength and endurance for sure, you know, on top of, like, of course, great jiu-jitsu. So I'm trying to focus on that, you know, always on a great jiu-jitsu, but also a lot of endurance. I'm a full-time jiu-jitsu athlete, and my whole life centered around jiu-jitsu. I train depending on how my body is, but I train the maximum I can. Whenever my body says, hey, stop, so we can keep going tomorrow, I stop.
My name is Chance Bro. I'm a brown belt from Blacklist Martial Arts and Fitness, and I've been training for 5 years. I was really young. My grandpa helped raise me, and he was a boxer, kung fu black belt, and so he really instilled the love of martial arts in me at a young age. From there, I was just always really interested in it. Always like tried to wrestle with my friends and attack my mom's friends and all. Then as I got older, I tried different martial arts and nothing. I was really into nothing, and then I found UFC. I watched UFC and I was like, this is what I have to do. So from there I'm like, okay, where am I gonna go train at? My dad ended up putting me in a local jiu-jitsu school under Ultimate Fighter veteran Tim Crater, who's one of his affiliates. The rest is history. I've been with him since. My specialty, I guess I'd be known more as a leg locker, but I'm really well-rounded. I like attacking the back. I like basically going for anything that gets me the finish. EBI means a lot to me in the fact that it's bringing jiu-jitsu into the mainstream, you know? So to be able to be part of that means a lot to me because I feel like I have the style to make it like entertaining to people that don't even know much about the sport. So to be able to do that and be part of that, it's special to me. I care about jiu-jitsu a lot. Especially being 19 years old, to being able to compete with these high-level cats and go in there and end up winning, that would mean the world to me. It's exactly what I'm training for. I can go in there and just worry about finishing my opponent. I don't have to worry about anybody dry humping me, trying to win on points or anything like that. We're going in there, we're trying to finish each other, we're trying to be entertaining, play up the crowd, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's my style of jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is what I love to do. I would do it even if there was no money in it. Granted, there's not much in it right now, but for the money that Eddie's offering, it definitely would do a lot for me, you know? I have kids, I have a fiance. With the money, if I were to win it, I'd put a down payment on a place for us, and I'd have a setup. I do jiu-jitsu to keep me sane, and I owe jiu-jitsu everything, you know? Jiu-jitsu gave me my kid, it gave me my fiance, it gave me my other kid on the way. It's given me some of my closest friends, and jiu-jitsu has been a big tool in my life to show me anything I put my mind to, that I dedicate my time to, I can be good at it. So it makes me a better father, it makes me a better spouse, and it makes me a better person. I'm just a small town kid from very, very South Louisiana, from a town not many people has heard of, you know? For me to even be on the card is kind of wild. So for me to go out and win it, that'd be incredible. I'm going in there trying to finish fulls.
Again, as a special treat, we are putting together another combat jiu-jitsu tournament at EBI 13, along with the 16-man tournament. We're doing a 4-man combat jiu-jitsu tournament. Palm strikes are legal on the ground. Standing, it's just wrestling. It's not MMA, but on the ground, it's gonna keep your jiu-jitsu honest, and that's what's happening with combat jiu-jitsu. With combat jiu-jitsu, you get pure jiu-jitsu data. We just keep rolling it out, and in time, we're gonna see what the best positions really are to train in jiu-jitsu. In time, the world champions in combat jiu-jitsu will translate to a career in MMA. We're finding out which leg lock positions work best for MMA. This is good data for jiu-jitsu players. You know, you want to practice the best possible jiu-jitsu, and that's what combat jiu-jitsu is really all about. Figuring out what are the best jiu-jitsu positions for MMA or in real life situations. After the first combat jiu-jitsu tournament we did after EBI 11, the one that Nick Holmstein won with the twister, Raulian Gracie calls me. I've never talked to him on the phone. I don't have his number. He called Rose, his daughter, Rose Gracie. He wanted my number to call me and to thank me for doing combat jiu-jitsu. It was surreal. It was crazy. I've never talked to Raulian Gracie on the phone. He's like, thank you very much. This is how we used to do it in Brazil. You know, thank you for bringing this. So if you're watching combat jiu-jitsu expecting MMA, go watch the UFC. The UFC's the best. You know, and then you got submission only. And then you got the points and the gi over there. But right in between MMA and submission only, you got combat jiu-jitsu.
EBI 13, let's go. My name is Richie Boogeyman Martinez. I represent 10th Planet Freaks out here in 10th Planet San Diego. Since EBI 11, I've been doing a lot. I've been focused on my school. I've had a couple of super fights. Haven't really competed in many tournaments. You know, I was dealing with an injury that I was facing, but I'm back at it. You know, I'm stronger than ever. Lately, I've been focused a lot on my students, you know, making sure they grow. Also been doing my own tournament, Ultimate Mat Warriors, that implicate the EBI rules. You know, I really want EBI rules to grow. I feel that EBI rules is the best kind of platform for jiu-jitsu at this time.
Go out there and get some money. All right, guys?
And, you know, for me, I just want to see it grow, and I want people to get paid as well. So I kind of been focused a lot on that, as well as my training. You know, I've been training with a lot of high-level grapplers, along with Gio, and you know, same guys, PJ Barch, and just my 10 Planet Freaks. For me, combat jiu-jitsu doesn't change much. You know, there's gonna be some slapping and stuff like that, which is gonna get frustrating for some people. For me, it's not. You know, I've been in the scenarios. I've helped Lima McFarlane train for this kind of format, and obviously she won first place. So I already kind of know what I'm dealing with or how I need to train for this specific kind of format. You know, like the thing that hypes me up is that my coach wants me to go out there and represent for our whole system. He put me in there because he felt that I would be the best for our system to represent at 170. And if Eddie says go, I'm gonna go the whole way. You know, if I feel that I should be at the bottom for those certain positions, I'm gonna take that. If I feel I need to be on top, I'm gonna do that as well. You know, I feel that I'm well-rounded as a jiu-jitsu player, and I feel I'm well-rounded as a 10th Planet grappler, you know? So either scenario that I get put in, I'm gonna do well. You know, I have nothing but faith in me. I believe in me 100%, and I believe that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be victorious. EBI 1, I was in the finals. You know, I lost in the finals, I got second place. I need to be in the finals again, you know, and if CJJ is the avenue for me to be in the finals, then that's what I'm gonna take. You know, I'm taking whatever I can, you know, I'm taking every loss that I've lost and I'm learning from it. And I don't wanna make the same mistakes. I'm definitely grown from every loss that I've had in EBI. This is totally new, this is CJJ. And I'm ready to take that strap, man. I'm ready to get my strap. This is what I want, and this is what I'm focused on, and there's no way around it. I'm gonna win this title. You know, CJJ is obviously more of a fight than most would think, but for me, jiu-jitsu is a fight in general. It's just my type of style of fighting, you know what I'm saying? So when people say it's like, now it's a fight, for me, jiu-jitsu has always been a fight. It's the way I fight, you know? If you put a striking guy versus a jiu-jitsu guy, what is it not a fight anymore? It's still a fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different type of style of fighting. My mind, I'm always fighting. I'm fighting for dear life. You know, you have the chance of choking somebody to death. Now there's just a different element involved. Am I gonna take advantage of it? Probably. You know, to the full potential, I'm gonna take advantage as much as I can. But don't get it twisted. Jiu-jitsu has always been a fight for me, and I have always been fighting for my life.
Representing Extreme Couture wrestler Max Roshkoff makes his EBI debut.
Has there ever been a knockout in these?
No, but there's...
If there, I'm gonna get the first knockout in EBI, combat jiu-jitsu.
So you're looking to make...
For a palm strike, yeah. I started wrestling when I was 12, 13 years old, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu and grappling when I was 18. Honestly, all I like to do is train. That's really my only thing. Is I train, I eat, I cook food, I sleep. Don't do too much. Life is really martial arts. I think this, at least for me, it's just a lifestyle. Like, this is the life I choose to live, and it's just training, becoming a better version of myself every single day. My coaches and everyone I've been around, they're like, we don't even, so half the time they don't know what I'm doing. Like, they don't understand, like I'm doing things that have never really been seen before, you know? I have a style that's very unique, and I think that just comes from my, my personality mixed with training the gi, training no gi, wrestling, having an unorthodox style in wrestling, and having a bunch of different coaches, and I pull from everyone, so I don't limit myself to just like one style or one technique or one anything. I'm just worried about getting results. In wrestling, people thought that I did jiu-jitsu before I even did jiu-jitsu. Like, I would win scrambles in wrestling positions that normal like wrestling fans or wrestlers or wrestling coaches, they're like, we've never seen that before. That looks like funky. It kind of seems like it's a little like jiu-jitsu. In every grappling art, there's positions where they don't spend time in. Like, wrestlers don't spend time like scrambling and a lot of time on the mat. It's all more takedowns, and then opposite for jiu-jitsu. I think if you can put all of those together, it's just a good recipe for a just good, well-rounded grappling game. My leg lock defense is on par with anyone in the world, so I don't really have an opinion, negative or positive, about leg locks. I think if you're good at them, I mean, it'd be good for you. It's gonna be a new experience for me. I've never competed under like combat jiu-jitsu rules, but I have been in a lot of fights, so it's gonna be fun. There's not gonna be a lot of people that have ever felt my kind of like top pressure or positioning, and the places I can hit you from, you're not ever gonna, you haven't felt this before. You can't win matches on criteria. You shouldn't win matches on like a draw. Some people, especially in grappling, it's really easy to stall. And so I think if it goes the distance and you have to go to overtime and you got to be put in bad positions because you're not taking risks to put yourself in bad position in regulation. I mean, if you don't like the overtime rules, then finish it in regulation. I like the overtime rules. I have trained with some of the best black belts in the world, and I train with black belts every day. I know where I'm at, just because of the way I incorporate every style and the way I use my wrestling and the way I've had great jiu-jitsu coaches to kind of bring me up. I'm able to compete with anyone in the world, so it means a lot to me that I'm able to go out and prove myself against other high-level black belts. To be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's what I'm going to do.
Representing American top team, black belt / MMA fighter Thiago Moyses.
My name is Thiago Moyses, and I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. As I have MMA experience, I started MMA when I was 17. My MMA debut, and now I have 11 fights, 9 wins and 2 losses. Like, my important victories are when I was in 2011, when I was juvenile, I won the awards, IBJJF. Then my focus became MMA, so I became an RFA lightweight champion, and the first guy to hit a helicopter armbar in an MMA fight. I think who gets the first palm strikes, like, I think the guy who gets this in the face is gonna think twice before do some jiu-jitsu stuff, you know, and yeah, I'm gonna look for palm strikes.
also slaps for the sound. I don't think my fight is going to overtime rule, you know. But if it goes, I'm ready. My specialty is chokes and arm bars, and I like leg locks also, and I'm ready to defend leg locks. My style will be really good for ABI. I have a really good bottom game, really good MMA base, so if I'm the bottom, I can sweep, I can stand up, and I have a really good grounding power also. I have been doing this since I'm a kid, you know, since I was 8 years old. So I think this is really important for my life. Like that's how I provide, you know, teaching and fighting. I am doing this for the money, and that's what I do. You know, I'm a fighter, and that's my job. So I do this for the money and to have fun also. Man, receiving the invitation for Eddie Bravo was great. You know, so many guys wanting to compete. I feel so grateful for the opportunity, and I want to give you a good show for you guys.
Representing Nice Guy Submission Fighting, black belt Bobby Emmons.
Knowing what the feel and the atmosphere and everything feels like, it's not my first time being there. Even though I haven't been on the mat, I've been there, I've coached there, and I know what the atmosphere is going to be like. And I do know, you know, especially as you get higher and higher in the weights, that the slaps are going to be harder. Even open palm slaps, if you hit the right spot on the jaw, it's going to hurt. You know, maybe not the force of an elbow or an MMA punch, but the force is definitely going to be there, especially the bigger guys who have punched a lot. They know how to put power into a slap just as well as a punch. You know, if you land just a little bit on the fingertips, if guys have been punched before, I think it's going to just be more annoying than anything. But if you can land a solid, you know, a solid slap and hit with this part of your hand or palm on the side of the head or the jaw, you can definitely put some force into it. Even though, you know, I primarily come from a leg lock gym is what we're known for. We've had, you know, quite a few successful MMA fighters out there as well. So it's not going to really be my first rodeo with what I can do, you know, with slaps involved versus what you can do when there's no slaps involved. So I think it's going to be a really good time, and I'm going to be able to put on a really good show. Slaps involved, punches involved, I'm always attacking the submission, so that's not going to, you know, come into effect at all as far as my game plan. I would say my jiu-jitsu style, actually I call it white trash BJJ. It's not any real style of its own. I'm not a super serious person by any means. I am when I get on the mats and I grapple, but I'm also there to have fun. I'm almost 36 years old, so I mean, maybe I'm old and I'm just more laid back than I should be, but it's fun for me. I don't want jiu-jitsu necessarily to be my job. I want it to be something I enjoy. I have a little girl and a wife at home. That's my life. Jiu-jitsu is more of a hobby for me, but a hobby I take very seriously. I'm out there to win, but I also want to have fun. I don't like putting all the pressure on myself, like you have to win, you have to do this, you have to do that. Go out there, have fun. And since I've started doing that, honestly, thinking about it less, I've had a lot better results, so I think that's the way to go for me. I think if it's your first time ever being hit, maybe if you're doing combat jiu-jitsu for the first time and you've never experienced MMA or something like that, then your emotions might take over. But like I said, you know, I've had 26 MMA fights, and I've been able to, you know, punch, kick, elbow the guy I'm fighting and go out and have a beer afterwards. So this will be nothing. I look to have a really good time, slap the piss out of somebody as hard as I can, hopefully submit them, and then, you know, have a beer with them afterwards.
That's going to be my game plan going into this, is just to be on offense the whole time, and I think it'll go a lot like my lightweight run the last time, where I was on attack the entire time and just viciously trying to submit my opponents.
It's my time to shine. This is my tournament. You know, this is my weight class that I feel the best at. Right now, I'm sharper than I've ever been. I feel better than I ever have.
I'll take anything, as long as they do this. I'm the champ, right?
I like to be well-rounded in all areas in jiu-jitsu, not just practice guard, not just practice foot locks, not just practice takedowns. I like to be jiu-jitsu as a full, you know, not just one area. So I would like to consider my style well-rounded, maybe.
The only way to win is to submit your opponent. So that's the pure point, that's the whole point of jiu-jitsu, is to finish the match.
This is a grind, you know, and you're in for a battle and a war, and I prefer that. I prefer like to be ready to go into a battle, a long stretch of combat. I'm
just a small town kid from very, very south of Louisiana, from a town not many people has heard of, you know. For me to even be on the card is kind of wild. So for me to go out and win it, that'd be incredible.
Always the best match should be in the final, but on EBI it's kind of hard, you know, because there's always so many great athletes, so it's kind of hard too.
I'm gonna get the first knockout in EBI. Combat jiu-jitsu.
I think it'll be a little mix of everything. I think you'll see some jiu-jitsu, but I think you'll see some powerful slapping at this division as well.
Jiu-jitsu has always been a fight for me, and I have always been fighting for my life.